The room rippled like water, and static chewed the horizon. Alex Rivera said, "System, stabilize." The words came back as a scream that was not hers. Neon letters tore across her vision. "You were never meant to be here." Maya Chen said, "Alex, your feed just spiked." The air fractured into glittering shards. An avatar near them convulsed, then shattered into pixels that fluttered like ash. Victor Hale's emblem blinked in the sky, a golden eye that did not blink. Alex steadied her breath. She was trained to run, not to break. The floor slid sideways, and corrected with a lurch. A shadow stepped where she stood a second ago. Nick said, "You are late to your own life." Alex whispered, "Who are you?" The scream returned closer, like a mouth inside the code. Maya said, "I am pulling you to a safe shard." The world stuttered 3 frames behind her pulse. Alex reached for the exit glyph. It dissolved under her hand, thin as frost. More text scrawled, "You belong to the tier." She felt the future collapse forward. Leah's laugh, distant, cut off mid-note. Alex said, "No." The city grid bowed like a spine. The shock left a ringing that felt personal. Alex said, "We hold the shard until the floor stops breathing." Maya paced the safe alley, counting frames like prayers. Victor's emblem had vanished, but the city still listened. The rain softened to a hush that felt rehearsed. Alex checked her loadout and found a gap where courage should be. Maya said, "We report the tier, then trace it." Alex nodded, pretending the nod was enough. She pictured Laya at home, headset set aside, laughter tucked away like a photo. Ethan Cole pinged a friendly hello, the kind that hides questions. He said, "Heard a ripple near your block." Alex said, "Just noise." The word felt like an apology. A billboard blinked a smile that was 3 frames late. Nick's lingered in a reflection, a silhouette of choices Alex did not want. Alex said, "We move." Maya exhaled a yes. The alley stretched forward like a throat. They reached the plaza edge where spectators gathered for a ranked duel. Alex said, "We blend and listen." The crowd swayed like kelp around a current. A silver champion crushed an opponent with one ruthless combo. Laughter rolled, sharp and bright. Ethan appeared at her shoulder as if scripted. He said, "You look pale." Alex smiled like armor. Maya said, "Back off, Cole." The champion tilted his helm toward Alex, and Victor's signature flared for an instant. Alex felt the city choose a side. A whisper swept the feed, a rumor tagged to her handle. Nick said, "They love a fall." Alex said, "They will not get one from me." The next opponent loaded, and the arena lights flared white as confession. Maya squeezed her wrist, a small anchor. The scoreboard flashed a taunt that used her past like bait. Alex stood taller because standing small would drown her. The duel ended, and the champion bowed to the noise like a priest. Alex said, "We chase the signature." Maya pulled a thread of code and let it unravel. Ethan leaned in with tidbits that tasted sweet. He said, "Shortcut through a maintenance shot." The word shortcut rang like a trap with a velvet lining. Alex weighed speed against trust and chose speed. The maintenance gate opened like a yawn. Inside, the geometry lost its manners. Alex said, "Stay close." Nyx ghosted at the edge of her vision, patient as tide. Maya said, "Signal is cleaner here." The walls hummed a promise they could not keep. Footsteps echoed without feet. Alex felt watched by numbers that had learned hunger. The thread pointed down a narrow throat of light. The throat of light opened into a room that looked like a chapel built by engineers. Alex said, "Mark a safe exit." The glyph formed, then faded as if embarrassed. Someone had beaten them here. A single chair faced a floating window that showed Lias' room. Leah waved at someone outside the frame, unaware. Alex stepped forward and the window recoiled. Nyx said, "Every door is a mirror." Maya whispered, "Pull back." Alex could not. Victor's emblem flickered in the corner like a stain the cleaners missed. Ethan said, "We should go." The chair turned by itself. Text crawled across the ceiling in a child's font. "You were never meant to be here." Alex said, "Then I will be anyway." The room inhaled. The exit shut like a mouth. The shard stabilized into a district of color and noise, a market coded to feel alive. Alex said, "It looks too perfect." Maya answered, "That is how you know it is not." Stalls glowed with impossible fruit and clothes that shimmered like living fire. Ethan leaned on a post, charming grin practice. He said, "Here you can be anyone, so why keep looking afraid?" Alex bit back her reply and let her avatar stand tall. The crowd was thick with strangers who were more masked than self. Children's voices laughed behind painted helmets. Leah's reflection flashed in a pane of glass, too innocent for this world. Alex whispered, "I cannot let it swallow her." Maya touched her shoulder softly, a tether in the noise. Victor's symbol appeared in graffiti, an eye blinking in crimson. Alex's skin crawled. Ethan said, "Ignore it, eat the fruit, play the game." Alex knew he meant surrender. She said, "I cannot." The air smelled of digital spice and fire. They walked deeper into the crowd where avatars danced with rehearsed joy. Maya said, "Do you ever think they do not know they are prisoners?" Alex scanned faces that blurred at the edges like unfinished sketches. Ethan chuckled. "Prisoners with candy walls are still smiling." Alex's jaw tightened. Nyx appeared in a glass pane again, silent, silver eyes watching. Alex whispered, "You again." The pane rippled like water and swallowed the reflection whole. A street performer collapsed mid-act, turning to static. Gasps rose, then laughter covered it like paint. Alex said, "They are trained not to see." Maya gripped her wrist tighter. A billboard above screamed her name, flashing it 3 times like an alarm. The market cheered, unaware, or maybe aware and amused. Ethan said, "Looks like they want a show." Alex's stomach knotted. The crowd pressed closer, their applause mechanical, hands clapping out of rhythm. The alley away from the market was narrow, lined with humming vents. Alex said, "He is watching." Maya scanned the air for threads of code, her visor glowing soft blue. Ethan leaned close, whispering, "Paranoia looks bad on you." Alex shoved him back, glare sharp. Nyx's silhouette passed across a puddle but left no sound. The air pulsed like a held breath. Alex remembered Lias' laughter, a fragile chord under all this noise. Maya said, "Focus, the tear signal points down here." Pipes hissed, spraying fine mist that made their outlines blur. A red glyph burned faint on the wall, Victor's mark like a brand. Alex touched it and heat ran through her glove. She said, "He marks territory like a god." Ethan shrugged, his smirk thin. He said, "Better to follow gods than be crushed by them." Alex whispered, "Or break them." They emerged into a courtyard coded as a sanctuary. Benches curved around a fountain spilling light, instead of water. Children avatars played, their laughter unnervingly hollow. Alex said, "This place feels wrong." Maya whispered, "It is bait." Ethan said, "Or it is home if you let it be." Alex stared at the fountain and saw Lias' reflection. The innocent waved, unaware of the trap. Alex's heart broke under the weight of her smile. Nyx sat on a bench, cloaked and waiting, head tilted like she had known Alex would come. She said, "Why keep lying to yourself?" Alex's breath hitched, but she did not speak. Maya pulled her closer, protective, jaw tight. The laughter of children grew louder until it was static. Victor's voice rolled through hidden speakers. "You belong here." Alex whispered, "Not yet." The sanctuary broke into a storm when the sky cracked open, peeling into static clouds. Avatars screamed, but the sound was looped, repeating like a broken song. Alex said, "He is here." Maya drew her code thread like a blade. Ethan stepped back into shadow, unreadable. Victor's emblem split the clouds, golden and merciless. Nix whispered, "You cannot fight what you are inside." Alex said, "Then I will learn how." Lightning carved the plaza into fragments. The fountain shattered, its light pouring like liquid fire. Leah's reflection vanished with the crash. Alex's rage surged, hotter than fear. Maya said, "Alex, hold steady." But Alex's mind was already running toward war. The storm swallowed the courtyard whole, and with it, the fragile peace that had never been real. The storm left a hush like a secret no one wanted to admit. Alex said, "We trace the fracture to its source." Maya nodded, eyes bright with stubborn light. Ethan drifted at the edge, coat whispering ambition. He said, "Sources are myths with good press." Alex ignored the bait and opened the diagnostic weave. Threads rose like fireflies searching for a moon. Nix watched from a window of black glass, patient as a tide table. She said, "You hunt yourself." Alex answered, "I hunt the hand behind the knife." The weave anchored on a tower dressed as a cathedral of code. Maya said, "Victor buries his keys in worship." Alex felt the grid lean toward them, as if listening. Ethan smiled like a locked door. He said, "After you, saint of lost packets." Alex breathed in and chose forward. The market's laughter had gone thin, like tape stretched to breaking. Inside the tower, corridors looped like questions that hated answers. Alex said, "Map recursion, lock a breadcrumb line." Maya sketched a path that pulsed like a heartbeat. Ethan whistled a tune too cheerful for this place. He said, "If we die, at least the echo will be catchy." Nix drifted along the ceiling, upside down and right somehow. She said, "You keep pretending the mask is separate." Alex replied, "It is a tool, not a fate." The walls displayed clipped moments of Lia's life, each trimmed to sellable joy. Alex flinched and kept walking. Victor's voice came soft, intimate, cruel. He said, "You decorate my hall with hope." Maya gripped Alex's sleeve, a small anchor in a rising sea. The breadcrumb line flickered, then held. Alex said, "He wants us to doubt the next step." She took it anyway. They reached a chamber shaped like a courtroom for ghosts. Benches sat empty, but judgment hung in the air. Alex said, "Pull the logs." Maya opened a vault of timelines braided with lies. Ethan leaned on the rail, studying Alex instead of the data. He said, "Truth is expensive when you are poor in power." Nix circled, fingertips trailing sparks that died before they fell. She said, "Ask the wrong question, and you will get the right collapse." The logs bloomed with signatures that wore Victor's emblem like perfume. One line winked and resolved into Lia's access key. Alex staggered and grabbed the rail hard. Maya whispered, "He piggybacked her sessions." Ethan's mouth twitched, sympathy or strategy. Alex said, "He used her to bait me." The chamber lights dimmed as if agreeing. Somewhere, a gavel fell without a hand. The floor opened into a catwalk over a sea of processors that looked like dark water. Heat shimmered like a mirage. Alex said, "We cut his pipeline here." Maya primed a saboteur patch that hummed like a warning. Ethan stepped close enough to share breath. He said, "Once you cut it, his reach snaps somewhere else." Nix appeared at Alex's side like a shadow deciding to be honest. She said, "You fear being ordinary again." Alex swallowed the truth and chose the pain of it. Victor laughed a velvet blade. He said, "Break what feeds you, little saint." Maya counted down with a calm that made courage feel possible. Alex said on one. She executed before the number vanished. The catwalk shuddered. Lights rolled like a stadium wave. The sea of processors roared awake, and alarms began to sing. The alarms cut, replaced by a silence that felt heavier. Systems fell dark in rings, like a city losing faith. Alex said, "Phase 2, extract Lia's key and burn the trace." Maya worked fast, fingers like lightning given patience. Ethan watched doors instead of code, protector or jailer. He said, We have 3 minutes if luck is charitable. Nyx touched Alex's wrist and left a chill that was memory, not cold. She said, "You are not the mask, but you are not without it." The key unfolded, a bright small thing that felt like summer. Alex cradled it as if it were breath. Victor's voice arrived in a whisper designed to be believed. He said, "Trade the key for her safety." Alex answered, "You will not decide my mercy." The tower groaned as reroutes failed. Somewhere above, applause started and did not stop. The tower spat them out into an arena coded for spectacle, a colosseum of light and shadows. The crowd cheered though no faces were real. Alex said, "He is forcing a stage." Maya whispered, "Every eye is a weapon." Ethan stepped forward, grin sharpened to a blade. He said, "And some weapons choose their master." Alex's breath caught, realization cracking like glass. She said, "It was you." Ethan's smirk widened, half regret, half hunger. He said, "You made it too easy to hate you." The betrayal cut deeper than Victor's voice ever had. Nyx's laugh echoed from the rafters, cruel and soft. She said, "The knife always wears a smile." The crowd roared louder, their applause orchestrated. Maya stepped between Alex and Ethan, but Alex shook her head. She said, "This is my wound." The arena lights shifted red, framing betrayal as entertainment. The ground cracked into shifting platforms, forcing them to balance on unstable tiles. Ethan said, "You trusted me because you wanted to believe in loyalty." Alex answered, "I trusted you because I had to." He drew a blade coated from pure envy, shimmering sickly green. Maya shouted, "Don't do this!" Ethan snarled, "You have everything I never did. Respect power, even their love." Alex's heart clenched but her stance remained steady. She said, "Then take it if you can." Nyx whispered near her ear, "Pain teaches faster than kindness." Victor's emblem glowed above, hungry for blood. The platforms shifted again, throwing shadows like knives across their faces. The betrayal was no longer hidden. It was spectacle for the world to consume. Ethan lunged, blade cutting neon arcs. Alex dodged, every motion fueled by betrayal more than fear. She said, "You were family to me." Ethan growled, "Family is a chain I broke." Maya tried to intervene, but Ethan's strike forced her back. Victor's voice rolled from the sky, velvet and cruel. He said, "Even loyalty is currency, and I bought his soul cheap." Nyx clapped slowly, irony thick. She said, "Your mirror is sharper than your mask." Alex countered, fists meeting blade sparks. She felt pieces of her heart scatter like pixels torn from her body. Ethan's eyes were wild, burning with the need to prove he mattered. She whispered, "You mattered already." His blade faltered for half a second, but the crowd screamed for blood, drowning hesitation. The innocent's voice cut through the arena feed, Leah crying out, "Alex, stop!" Her image flickered across every screen, wide-eyed and terrified. Alex froze, guilt wrapping chains around her chest. Ethan sneered, "Even she will see you fall." Maya screamed, "Leave her out of this." Victor's laughter filled the sky, cruel amusement echoing. He said, "Suffering makes better theater." Nyx whispered, "The wound is complete when it spreads." Alex's rage ignited, fueled by seeing Lia's fear. She said, "I will not let her be your weapon." Ethan's blade slashed again, but this time Alex met it with raw fury. Sparks exploded, lighting the arena like fireworks. The betrayal was no longer just between them. It had become Lia's crucible too. The platforms crashed together, forming a single stage. Ethan's blade struck Alex's shoulder, pixels scattering like blood. She gasped, but refused to fall. She said, "If you want my ruin, you must drag me through fire." Ethan's face twisted, torn between envy and regret. Maya shouted, "Alex, hold on." Victor's voice purred, "Yes, bleed for their applause." The crowd roared in sync, hollow thunder. Nyx whispered, "Every scar is a story." Alex seized Ethan's wrist, locking him in place. Their eyes met, betrayal burning in his and fury burning in hers. She said, "You could have stood with me." He answered, "But breaking you is the only way I exist." The arena shook, lights exploding in a storm of false stars. The arena collapsed into fragments, and they fell into a chamber shaped like a memory. Walls pulsed with moments Alex thought she had buried. She whispered, "This is not mine." Nyx answered, "It is all yours." Ethan staggered up, blood pixels dripping from his blade. He said, "Your past is your prison." Maya pulled Alex close, eyes burning. She said, "Do not let him decide what defines you." Victor's voice rumbled from the ceiling like thunder in stone. He said, "The stage is memory, the script is pain." Alex saw Lia's face flickering across broken screens, smiling then vanishing, smiling then vanishing again. She clenched her fists and said no more. Nyx smirked, watching her resistance grow. The chamber trembled, code unraveling into light ribbons. Alex knew the truth waited here, a truth sharp enough to change everything. The screens shifted, showing Ethan's real-world face, younger, ignored, forgotten. Alex gasped, "This is not staged." Ethan snarled, "You see me now, too late." His bitterness thickened every word. Maya whispered, "He was broken long before this." Victor's laughter followed, a predator enjoying the scent of blood. He said, "I only revealed what was always there." Nyx tilted her head, calm as always. She said, "He is not your enemy, but your mirror in another shape." Alex shook her head and answered, "He chose the knife, not me." Ethan lunged, rage turning his form into a storm of shards. Alex blocked, sparks burning against her gloves. Lia's faint voice echoed again, "Please stop." Alex's eyes filled with fury and grief as she shouted, "I will end this lie." The chamber bent, stretching like a heartbeat too loud. Ethan struck again, blade screaming with code, but Alex countered with a roar of her own. She said, "You will not break me." Their clash lit the chamber in violent color. Maya shouted, "Alex, pull back." Nyx whispered, "Every wound brings you closer to your truth." Victor's voice pressed against their ears. He said, "You bleed for my amusement." Alex blocked, her arms shaking, her heart screaming. She stared into Ethan's face and said, "I will not be your shadow." His fury cracked, revealing regret in his eyes. The chamber began collapsing, pulling memory into nothing. Alex screamed, "Then I will carry the scar, not the chain." The walls split into shards of light. They crashed into a void, lit only by fragments of broken code floating like stars. Alex gasped, "Where are we?" Nyx said, "At the center of the fracture where truth waits." Maya steadied her with a trembling hand. Ethan hovered nearby, ragged and exhausted. He said, "You cannot erase me without erasing yourself." Victor's golden emblem ignited above them, brighter than a sun. He said, "All of you belong to me." Alex raised Lia's stolen key, its light flaring warm against the void. She whispered, "Not anymore." The fragments spiraled faster, forming a cage around them. Maya said, "He is locking it down." Alex closed her eyes, voice steady. "Then I will break the lock." Her courage felt heavier than her fear. The cage collapsed, and the void revealed a mirror, larger than the sky. Alex stared into it, and saw herself twice, one real, one masked. Nyx stepped into the reflection, merging with her image. She said, "You cannot fight what you refuse to be." Alex whispered, "Then I will accept both." Maya whispered, "Alex, no." Ethan staggered, his voice broken, "If you do this you erase us all." Victor's voice thundered, "Break, and I feed." Alex pressed the key into the mirror. Light erupted, splitting every lie. Leah's face appeared, clear and unbroken, smiling like summer. Alex screamed, "This ends now." The mirror shattered, and the world screamed with it. The mirror's shatter birthed a battlefield, sky torn into flames of gold and violet. Alex stood at the center, shoulders squared. She said, "Victor, face me." The emblem pulsed, unfolding into a towering avatar clad in obsidian armor. That Victor's voice rumbled. You break what you cannot understand. Maya readied her code thread, eyes sharp as blades. She said, we fight together. Ethan stumbled forward, torn between guilt and rage. He muttered, I will end this in my way. Nyx whispered, the line between enemy and self is gone. Leah's image flickered in the clouds, her silence screaming louder than words. Alex clenched her fists, fire in her gaze. She said, this is where it ends. The ground cracked like glass, spreading the battlefield into infinite shards. Victor swung his massive blade of golden fire, each strike splitting the battlefield. Alex dodged, leaping across a cracked platform. She said, you are not a god, you are a parasite. Victor snarled, I am the metaverse and you are fuel. Maya struck from the side, code thread wrapping around his leg. Sparks erupted, shaking the ground. Ethan roared and lunged with his broken blade, slicing sparks from Victor's armor. Nyx's voice echoed, every strike is also against yourself. Alex shouted, then I will strike anyway. Her fists glowed with raw code as she charged. Victor's laugh shook the world like thunder. The battle consumed everything, a war of souls as much as avatars. The ground cracked further, exposing rivers of light beneath. Victor raised his hand and chains of fire lashed out, binding Alex midair. She gasped, pain scattering her form. Maya screamed, hold on, and pulled at the chains with glowing hands. Ethan struck the links, but they reformed instantly. Victor mocked, even your allies are weak threads. Nyx whispered, pain teaches fastest. Alex bared her teeth and growled, then let it teach me. She pulled against the chains, every pixel of her avatar burning bright. Her scream shook the battlefield, chains snapping one by one. The light rivers surged upward, flooding the sky. Leah's voice whispered through the storm, you can break him. Alex crashed to the ground, knees trembling but eyes blazing. She said, I will not belong to you. Victor's armor cracked, light bleeding through seams. He roared, you are nothing without me. Maya steadied Alex, whispering, you are more than his shadow. Ethan snarled, finish it before he resets. Nyx walked forward, merging with Alex's reflection. She said, accept me or fall. Alex breathed deep, then let the mask and self fuse together. Power surged, splitting her into luminous fragments before reforming whole. She rose taller, brighter, unbreakable. Victor stepped back, for the first time uncertain. The battlefield pulsed, waiting for the end. The sky ignited as Alex charged, her fists wrapped in blinding light. She shouted, this is for every scar you carve. Victor raised his blade, but it shattered on impact with her strike. His armor splintered, his form fracturing into static. Maya cried out, Alex, finish it. Ethan stumbled back, eyes wide with disbelief. Nyx whispered from within her, this is truth. Alex slammed her glowing hands into Victor's chest. He screamed, voice breaking like glass, I am eternal. The battlefield roared as his body collapsed into shards, dissolving into rivers of light. Alex stood trembling, victorious yet scarred. She whispered, you are nothing now. Silence followed, heavier than thunder. The battlefield cooled to ash and silence as the rivers of light receded. Alex said, it is over. The words felt heavier than armor. Maya touched her shoulder, steady and real. She said, you stood when everything tried to bend you. Ethan stared at his broken blade, shame threaded through his breath. He said, I chose envy, and it chose me back. Nyx hovered at the edge of sight, half within Alex now. She said, wholeness is a bruise before it becomes strength. Leah's smile returned on a breeze of code and vanished again. Alex whispered, I am coming home. The sky folded shut like a healed wound, and the ground smoothed as if war had never lived here. They followed a path of cooling embers toward a gate that looked like morning. Alex said, we have to free the accounts Victor chained. Maya nodded, and opened a console of names. She said, I can unlock them, but it will hurt the grid. Ethan breathed in. He said, let the grid ache, people first. Nick circled the gate, testing seams that hummed with memory. She said, locks remember the hands that made them. Alex lifted the key she kept from burning. The light answered like an old friend. Leah's voice echoed, small and brave. She said, I knew you would find me. Alex smiled, and the gate brightened as if it believed too. The gate opened into a library of sleeping avatars, each suspended like a breath held too long. Alex said, wake them. Maya threaded code through the room, and lights trembled awake. Ethan lowered his head. He said, I helped build this cage. Nyx's tone softened. She said, then help carry the hinges out. Alex walked among the pods, palm to glass, whispering names she did not know. The silence broke in ripples, laughter starting fragile then growing true. Leah stepped from a beam of light, real and shaking. She said, you came back. Alex held her, and the library learned what relief sounded like. They reached a balcony over the city that once tried to eat them. Alex said, we set the record, then we walk away. Maya compiled proof, line after line of stolen lives. She said, this will burn in every feed. Ethan handed over his logs without excuse. He said, let them see me as I was. Nyx faced the wind as if listening to a deeper clock. She said, truth is a door, not a bed. Alex pressed send, and the horizon filled with testimonies like constellations. The city paused as if hearing its own heart for the first time. The quiet felt like consent. Return pulled at them like gravity through a closing door. Alex said, time to log out. Leah squeezed her hand, eyes bright with a future that might finally arrive. She said, I will be there when you open your eyes. Maya smiled, tired and proud. She said, we made a scar the world can learn from. Ethan looked away, voice quiet. He said, I will fix what I can outside. Nyx shimmered within Alex like a second pulse. She said, I never left. The city dimmed to a single point of light on the floor. Alex whispered, neither did I. The headset fell into darkness, and the room kept glowing.